yafe hayom, Shabbat shalom. Ma yafe hayom, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Boikala, 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 boikala. Boikala, 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 boikala. Lechadadi, likrat kala, hini Shabbat nikavela.
Good evening, Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to our service. To some of you that have never been before, we welcome you. And to all of those that are watching from the East Coast to the West Coast, we always like to say hello and welcome to all of you who are watching as well. We're going to begin our service tonight with the lighting of the candles on page 2. Would anybody like to come up and light candles for us?
You don't have to sing, I'll sing.
All you have to do is light.
There we
Please.
go, thank you.
I'd like to say all the way from Denver, but that's okay. Right. May the Shabbat candles that we now light inspire us to see justly and gently, to look honestly and with kindness, and to see what's holy in each other.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner Shall Shabbat.
Thank you. So we turn to page 4 at the bottom of the page. Hine matov, how good and pleasant it is to be together.
And it is so good that we are all here together on this Shabbat, here in this sanctuary, in this beautiful space, tonight indoors, tomorrow outdoors, wherever we are. We're just so glad that we get to be together. So please take just a moment to introduce yourself or to say Shabbat Shalom to someone who's sitting nearby. Hine matov u'manayim Shavet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim Shavet achim gam yachad. Hine matov Shavet achim gam yachad. Hine matov Shavet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim 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 Shavet achim gam yachad. Hine matov Yalalai, yalalalalalai. Hine matov Yalalai, yalalalalalai. Hine matov טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
When we were introducing ourselves before services, it seems like everyone is from somewhere, but also now that you're here, you're all part of our family. And it's a bit of a combination. Some of the tunes you'll recognize from wherever you were, and some are a little bit new, but I think that's what creates, it's not a reform, we're not conservative, we're definitely not orthodox. And you get an idea of who we are and what we do, and we welcome you to join in. Bottom of page 8, we have a prayer. Let's continue responsively with our family prayer. May we never take for granted the gift of Shabbat as we sit nestled in the Rocky Mountains, sharing this humble moment with family and friends. May the satisfaction of celebrating Shabbat hearten our spirits, and let Shabbat peace bring quiet to our souls. Allow this time set aside for song and prayer to bring us closer together in thoughts and deeds. Let this space we share become our place of devotion, glowing with reverence and filled with our traditions. May the end of this week encourage us to examine our actions. Let us look ahead toward the new week, be worthy of all of God's blessings. The top of page 8 as we welcome the angels of peace and join together. Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Ni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzitchem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Well, upon arriving in Jerusalem, the pilgrims lifted their eyes to the mountains. They looked up and they said, "From where does my help come?" And this is our song. And we even have it written in case you want to follow along. As Sinai, we lift our eyes to our mountains as well. Page 12 as we join together.
Sinai el harim me'ayin me'ayin yavo Esri. Sinai el harim me'ayin me'ayin yavo Esri. Esri me'im Adonai oseh shamayim va'aretz. Esri me'im Adonai oseh shamayim va'aretz. Sinai el harim me'ayin me'ayin yavo Esri. Sinai el harim me'ayin me'ayin yavo Esri. Esri me'im Adonai oseh shamayim va'aretz. Esri me'im Adonai oseh shamayim va'aretz.
And as we live here in these amidst the mountains and all the beauty that surrounds us, we think about our covenant with God to take care of everything that's around us so it's beautiful for the next generation. Let's continue the middle of page 15 responsively with our covenant with God. As we live amidst the trees, streams, and mountains of Vail, we pray for the care and healing of the earth so that present and future generations may enjoy the fruits of creation. God made a covenant with Abraham and Sarah, blessing them and their descendants throughout the generations. We teach our children to love Judaism, to honor and carry on our traditions and laws of the Torah, so our legacy may continue. Guide Moses, the Israelite people, to all generations, giving our people the 10 Commandments. and challenging us to choose a life of goodness. May each day be filled with kindness, honesty, integrity, and righteous acts, so we remain filled with the promise of those covenants. Turn to page 16. We'll join together Lecha Dodi as we welcome the Sabbath bride. Top of page 16.
Lecha lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. La 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 lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Hishmi'anu el meyuchad, Adonai echad, Shmo echad. L'shem ol tiferet melitchila, la 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 lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nilcha, ki yehi mekor haveracha, mirosh mikedem nesucha. Sof ma'aseh b'machsheva tchila, la 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 lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Mikdash melech ir melucha, kumitzvi mitoch ha'aflecha, Rav לשבת בעמך, והוא יחמול עלייכם, לה 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 לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
The bottom of page 18, we rise, face the rear of the sanctuary as we greet the Sabbath bride.
בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמונה עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לה 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 לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לה 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 לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
May be seated. Top of page 21, we have responsive reading of Psalm 92. It's also known as the Psalm for the Sabbath day, first recited in the temple in Jerusalem. Let's continue responsively the top of page 21. It is good to give thanks to you, O Lord, to praise your name through song, to speak in the morning of your loving kindness and your faithfulness each night. Music of the lute and the harp, melody of the lyre, I'll sing with my delight as we continue at the bottom of page 20.
Tzadika tamar yifrach ke'erez bavanon yizkeh shetulim beveit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu Yahweh. העננים יהיו להגיד כי ישר אדוני צורי ולאו לא תבוא.
Well, in the old days, when we used to read a newspaper, and it wasn't just something online that you'd look at, there was a column in 1921 in the Boston Globe called Dr. Crane Says. Kind of like an advice column, but as you turn to page 21, this works all the time for all of us. And it's just for today. And Rosemary, would you like to lead us on this one? Welcome back. Page 21. Page 23. I'm sorry, page 23.
That would be why it was confusing.
Just the first paragraph, the whole thing?
Every other paragraph, it's all yours.
Okay. Just for today, I will live one day only, forgetting yesterday and tomorrow, and not trying to solve the whole problem of life at once.
Just for today, I'll be unafraid of life and death, unafraid to enjoy the beautiful and be happy. People are as happy as they make up their minds to be.
Just for today, I will adjust myself to what is, and not try to adjust everything to suit me. If I cannot have what I like, I will try to like what I have.
Just for today, I'll be agreeable, cheerful, charitable, do my best to praise people for what they can do, not criticize them for what they cannot do. And if I find fault, I'll forgive it and forget it. I'll try not to improve nor regulate anybody except myself.
Just for today, I will have a plan. I may not follow it exactly, but I will have one. It will save me from worry, hurry, and indecision.
Just for today, I'll get people off my nerves and not get on theirs. I'll appreciate them for what they do and what they are.
Just for today, I will not show it if my feelings are hurt.
Just for today, I'll find a little time for quiet to relax, realize what life is and can be. Time to think about God and get a better perspective of myself.
Just for today, I will look at life with fresh eyes and discover the wonder of it. I will know that as I give it to the world, so the world will give to me.
Thank you. Thanks very much. As we turn to page 24 in our prayer books, we'll rise for our call to worship and join together in the Baruch Hu.
Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed HaMevorach, HaMevorach, Le'olam Va'ed. You may be seated. Our prayer at the top of page 28 was written by Moses and Joshua, putting the words together 3,000 years ago, where it says, when there's darkness, we pray that God provides protection until the sun rises in the morning, as we continue the top of page 28.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha avta, Amcha Otanu lemadeta, Otanu lemadeta. Alakein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachenu, U'kumenu nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'mitzvotecha le'olam ba'ed. Ki hem chayenu, ve'orech yameinu, uvahem negei yomam v'layla, negei yomam v'layla, ve'ahavatcha al tasir, mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
And as we now recite the Shema, we link ourselves to generations of Jews who steadfastly held on to these words. Page 30.
Lila.
Looks like you're alone this time, Lila. We join together.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kavod Ahuto Yolam Va'ed.
Thank you.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, bechol levavcha uvchol nafshecha, uvechol meodecha, behayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anochi metzavecha, hayom al levavecha, vishinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, b'shivtecha b'beitecha, u'lechtecha v'derech, u'b'shachbecha u'b'kumecha, u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'einecha, u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'visharecha, leman tizkiru, v'atzitem et kol mitzvotai, v'tem kedoshim le'elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Well, on this Shabbat evening, as we seek peace and comfort, shield us from the hatred and destruction that plagues so many corners of our world, and console those in needs. Shomer Yisrael, guardian of Israel, we call out to you with prayer to protect the men, women, and children brutally kidnapped by Hamas and held captive in Gaza now for 273 days, along with the members of the Israel Defense Forces missing in action or held captive. May it be your will speedily and soon to bring them out from darkness and the shadow of death, and continue to give strength to the IDF to do all that must be done to deliver them from danger and back to the loving embrace of their dear ones. So may the verses of Isaiah be true. Those delivered by God will be returned. They will enter Zion with everlasting joy. We join together at the top of page 34, Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, me'amidenu malkeinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, me'amidenu malkeinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom Ve'hamidenu Malkeinu L'Chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom Ve'hamidenu Malkeinu L'Chaim.
And as we read in the book of Exodus, in 6 days the Lord created the heavens and the earth. On the seventh day, ceased from his work and rested. We join together, page 36, Vishamru.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat le'dorotam berit olam.
Beini,
Uvein, b'nei Yisrael, Oti le'olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Uvayom Hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat le'dorotam berit olam.
Well, that's a lot of energy for a Friday afternoon. And you brought it all back to us. We have to save some of that for the mountaintop tomorrow, though, where we're going to have more energy.
Do I ever run out of energy?
Never, I know. We'll talk about that later when you have to head to the rodeo tonight. Well, there are those in our community who are in need of healing, of body, mind, or spirit. And if you have a person in your life in need of healing, please feel free to share their name aloud as you move about the sanctuary. Page 38. We join together with our prayer for healing, Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha
We keep in our prayers for full blessing of healing to Ronnie Baker, Gail Balin, Sue Beiser, Dennis Deutsch, Carol Ann Finn, Jane Friedman, Deborah Goldman, Mark Grabowski, Lori Hellman, Mike Herman, Jody Israel, Re'eh Ivri, Donald Jaffe, Harriet Jaffe, and Mary Sue Katz, Cheryl Kessler, Herman Keek, Judith Landau, Pam Lessing, Renee Myers, Stephen Reese, Bill Silvers, B. Sklarowitz, Dina Stempler, Donna Weinstock, Jerry Weinstock, and Mickey Winokur.
Those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
Well, you're just full of surprises.
This was a surprise to me too, Rabbi Newman.
Thank you. That was wonderful. And
Thank you,
you
Ken.
come out here to take care of and tune the organ, and then we get you to jump up and play piano for us. Thank you. That
I
was
roped Ken into doing this about 3 minutes before the service.
That was beautiful. Thank you. Page 40 as we rise for the Reader's Kaddish.
Yitkada ve'yitkadash shemei rava.
Amen.
Be'alma divra kirutei ve'amlich malchutei.
V'chayechon v'yomechon u'chayedecha Beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uvizman kariv.
Ve'yimeru.
Amen. Yesh me'rabba mevarach, le'alam lameho maya, yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach. Yitpa'ar yitrama v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal. Shemei dekutsham.
Brechu.
Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata.
Tushbechata v'nechemata, tamiran bi'alma.
Ve'yimeru.
Amen. Be not afraid of silence. It's more powerful than the unpolished word. It allows God's voice to be heard, allows tears and doubt to tumble out. The top of page 42 as we join together, and then silently through page 57.
Ananana svatai tiftach. Ananana ufi yagid. Ufi yagid tehilatecha. Ananana Adonai. Ananana svatai tiftach. Ananana ufi yagid. Ufi yagid tehilatecha. Ananana Adonai. Ananana svatai tiftach. Ananana ufi yagid. Ofi agid tehilatecha. Anananananana, Adonai, Adonai, Shvatai tiftach. Ananananana, Ofi agid, Ofi agid tehilatecha.
May be seated when you've completed the Amida. As we continue with our prayer for peace, the top of page 54, and join together Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lecho hashalom. Shalom, Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. 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 Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Tonight at the rodeo, they're honored to have a cantor sing on Shabbat, the Star Spangled Banner. It was either me doing the bull riding or she does that, and we flipped a coin. So we'll have a wonderful time. I'm glad I'm not doing the bull riding. Well, having celebrated Independence Day yesterday, I want to talk to you about one of the most basic rights. It's a right that's granted in the First Amendment of the Constitution, and that is freedom of speech. Now, as Americans, we pride ourselves in the many freedoms that we enjoy, but especially freedom of speech. It's one of our most basic rights, and we're determined to protect that at almost all costs. Now, often we speak out in defense when even the ideas, the marches, the demonstrations are expressed by others They border a little too closely on being inflammatory or even offensive. But a mature society, I would agree, is one that understands that proper speech is not just a right, but it's also a responsibility. And there are consequences for the words that we choose, how we engage public discourse. Despite that childhood rhyme that said sticks and stones, well, words definitely can do harm. Well, Oliver Wendell Holmes, former Justice of the Supreme Court, used often in his speech, he talked about the freedom of speech doesn't give one the right to yell fire in a crowded theater. Now, the Jewish point of view toward freedom of speech, it's quite different, and our rabbis said that we've got limits. The freedom of speech does not give one the right to speak ill of his fellow human being. Slander in Jewish law is one of the most serious of all violations, but unfortunately, the concept of lashon hara, it's the halachic term for derogatory speech about a person, it's a speech which they described as could emotionally or financially damage another person, or even lower them in the estimation of others. Now, for us Americans, this might be a difficult idea, I think, for us to grasp because we're so indoctrinated with the concept of freedom of speech. But still, we look at the Jewish laws as shimrat lashon, which means the guardian and the guarding of our speech. And it's clear that we're not free to express ourselves as we want or please. But we don't live in Babylonia in the 1st century anymore. That's when those laws were written. So understanding free speech in the 21st century of America, it means that we follow the many laws regarding to privacy and confidentiality. So living in America, we have the privilege of free speech. We're encouraged to speak out, to change which we don't like about America, speak out and not remain silent. Well, there's a Hasidic tradition that recalls this. It was once asked of the Tsartkova Rebbe. They said, "Why have you not preached for such a long time?" And he answered, "Well, there's 70 ways to teach Torah, and one of them is through silence." And the book of Ecclesiastes teaches that there's a time to be silent, and there's also a time to speak. Well, this past year we watched, I think with disbelief, as anti-Israel and anti-American protesters were screaming what they thought was free speech. But what they were yelling is no more than words of hate. For anyone who has traveled outside the U.S., what's amazing is there's no greater feeling than when you pass through U.S. customs, you're coming home, and then you say with a sigh, what a great country we live in. It's not perfect, but we're blessed with so many freedoms. So this week, as we mark the 248th anniversary of American independence, this Shabbat, we give thanks for our freedom. We also give thanks for the men and women who made our freedom possible. So today, standing watch on land and at shore, and on distant shores and at sea, there's so many brave men and women who have stepped forward to serve, knowing that the risks and the dangers that accompany their freedom's defense. So since the first 4th of July, almost 43 million Americans have defended our freedoms in time of war. These brave men and women have crossed oceans, continents. They crossed because they wanted to defeat the murderous ideologies just to secure peace for the generation that was to follow. So we live in liberty because of the courage they displayed, from Bunker Hill to Baghdad and from Concord to Kabul. Tonight we honor their achievements and we thank them for their service and for that free speech in freedom's cause. We'll pause for a moment. We have a word from our president, Stephen Wellens, of the many things that are coming in the next few weeks.
Shabbat Shalom. First off, Rabbi, I want to thank you for your many, many years of service, defending our country, presenting a Jewish perspective in the Navy, which I think was very well served, and I'm sure you enjoyed many and many of those occasions. And Jeannie also served, so we want to thank her as well. And I want to thank all of the veterans who have put their lives on the line to protect our freedoms in this day and age. So thank you to all. And the other thing is, did find something out tonight, that the rabbi read something other than Torah, because he read paragraph 7 on page 9, article 3 of the contract I wrote for him. You can't be a bull rider.
Okay, right.
You can when you retire, but as long as you're here, you cannot be a bull rider. I put that in there specifically because I thought one day you might try.
Okay, all right.
Thanks, you didn't. Welcome and thank you all. Thank you all watching us that are not here. I've always thought that I would be a horrible politician, and I believe that. I was so horrible that somehow you elected me for another term, so I didn't do a very good job getting unelected. My wife would have liked me to be unelected, but it didn't happen, and I'm honored to serve for another 2 years, and I think I have a great team with us. We accomplished a lot. We have a great team: Jeannie, Rabbi, Janet, Michelle, who announced tonight, we announced it the other night, we completed her contract. She will be here for another 5 years and hopefully beyond that. That was 2 of the goals I had when I took over, is to make sure that our clergy and our cantor were under contract for long term, so that they had security in their lives and we had security knowing they would be here. But this doesn't happen without an amazing, amazing group of congregants who pay for all of this stuff. So just to give you a quick highlight, I'm not going to spend a lot of time. We closed the year with just under 400 families, 385 families. I think that's an all-time record for B'nai Vail. We raised close to $600,000 in dues. We finished the year with money in the bank. We've got an endowment and a foundation that's invested for the long term, for the continuity of this congregation, long beyond all of us being here. And we try never to charge for anything, because we have great congregants who sponsor all this. So thank you for those of you that do that. And I see several in here that are participants every year in sponsoring our programs. It's really important to us. Tomorrow, of course, we've got the Mountaintop Shabbat. I think we have an amazing event planned for you. I hope to see all of you here. We expect to see probably close to 500 people, hopefully. The weather should be amazing. We've got another group of IDF soldiers in for the Bishville program, which is a 2-week program out at Russell Molina's ranch. A lot of us are going next week for the Shabbat there. Several of them will be there tomorrow, so make a point to say hello, thank them for their service to Israel and service to the world. And they're suffering just like our soldiers suffered, but they're having to go through it again. These are ex-IDF soldiers, but now they're waking up every day with horrible, horrible circumstances. So we're lucky to be able to do this in sponsorship and have them here, and I think it's really important. The other thing is, in August, I think it's August 7th, is the ambulance, motorcycle ambulance. I've asked Paul Krasnow, who spearheaded the leadership of raising the money for that. He's going to talk at the Mountaintop Shabbat in August, but we're going to have the motorcycle and an ambulance here from Ogun David showing us what your contributions. We were able to raise over $100,000 and donate 3 motorcycle ambulances to Israel. Paul's going to talk about that, and I think it's going to be really a special thing to see those ambulances in Israel with B'nai Vail's name on it, and know that we've given them something that can save lives. The other thing is, we have a record 155 pillars this year. Those are people who give beyond their dues. We thank you again, as we always do. It's not what you give, it's not how much you give, it's that you give, whether it's your time as a volunteer, your money to sponsor something, whether you volunteer your family members, like I volunteer my wife all the time for things. It takes all of us to get this done. So I could go on for another 10 or 15 minutes, but I won't. I invite you all tomorrow to come, and we have an amazing program planned. A couple things to highlight coming up. We've got the Mountaintop, which will be August 3rd for the next one. I hope that you all attend. We've got Rabbi Abraham Cooper coming here from the Simon Wiesenthal Center. On July 24th, we've got Ted Deutsch, CEO of the American Jewish Committee, going to come talk about anti-Semitism. I think if you haven't signed up, please make sure you go and sign up. These things sell out quickly. We've got Creekside Shabbat's coming up. Take a look at the bulletin. There's a lot going on, and we're going to try to do more events than we did last year, and I think we did just an amazing amount of events. So Shabbat Shalom, and I see my friend Jeff and Marcy. And Jeff, I didn't know your father. I know you're here because your dad. I'm sure if he was anything like you, he was a special man. And it's nice to see your family here. Thank you.
Thanks. Well, for tomorrow's service on the mountain, we have plenty of room. We get up there and it looks like Woodstock all spread out, except we have the good weather. And for the second one, for those of you here last Friday night, it was incredible. We had the Bluegrass Shabbat. And I said they were so good, so we're bringing them back, and they're going to come on the mountain for the second mountaintop service. And we're bringing all that whole group back for another service. And take a look and see what Janet has put together on this amazing calendar for all of us. And is it called Save a Life? Every member safer. Every Friday night, 5 o'clock before services, you can come here and learn how to do CPR. And you never know. We hope we never have to know. But if you do need to know, we're going to be able to do it. And we'll have a mannequin, and Janet will do the training for us. So we have some great stuff that's really coming up. I don't want to downplay this movie also that's coming. It's a film called Blessed is the Match, the story of Chana Senesh. It may not be a name that all of you are familiar with, but it was Eli, Eli was her poem, and also the stars that we talk about sometimes at funerals. And she was a Hungarian paratrooper, dropped behind enemy lines, unfortunately captured by the Nazis and killed. But she left behind poetry, and a movie was put together by Roberta Grossman. So she's flying out from Hollywood. She's going to talk about the movie, and we're going to show it in Edwards. And it's an incredible story that most of us don't know the whole story. So take a look. There's more than we could imagine that's on here for all of us that are participating this summer. If you're going back to Denver, this is a reason to come back again. We have plenty of things going on here. We'd love to see you back. And what a week it was last week, huh? We were already on the mountain one time, and you're going to come back and join us for more. That was incredible. Little Jonathan just took over, and I could have been on vacation with his bar mitzvah. It was wonderful. Thank you. Well, let's turn to page 58. It's 4th of July weekend, and I think it's appropriate. Let's read together the prayer for our country. Page 58. Eternal God, accept our prayer for the United States of America. Let your blessings pour forth on this land, on our president, judges, and officials. Enable them to understand your principles of justice so that freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom from want, and freedom from fear might never depart our land. Bestow your spirit on all the inhabitants of our land and plant fellowship and peace between all faiths that dwell here. Uproot from their hearts all hate and jealousy for all that desire to see this great land as a light for all nations. Let us never forget those brave men and women who have served and are serving this country at sea and on distant shores. May they go in peace and return to their families in peace. So may it be your will that we soon establish the vision of the prophet. Nation will not lift up sword against nation, nor will they learn war anymore. We turn to page 16 in our prayer books and rise and continue. We'll join together in Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, lateit gedula leotzer breshid, shelo asanu kagoye haratzot, velo samanu kamishbechot hadama, shelo samichelekenu kahem, vegahor aleinu kechol hamonam, vanachnu korim, Umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad Ushemo, Echad. At this moment, in memory of our loved ones who are no longer with us, we join hands in love and remembrance. A link has been broken in the chain that bound us together, yet strong bonds of home and love hold us one to another. In solemn testimony to that unbroken faith which links the generations one to another, we call to mind those whose yahrzeit we observe this month. Fred Allen, Joan Barr, Gerda Barrett, Janet Brown, Harry S. Bush, Goldie Cohen, Morris Cohen, Thomas Daniel, Mark Ettinger, Pauline Azursky, Seymour Feder, Faye Fermansky, James Gaynor, Arthur Glickman, Beryl Fine Goldstein, Harry Goldstein, Joseph Guss, Barbara Gutzman, Kenneth Hertz, Judith Ann Huckman, Arnold Hodis, Stephen Riedhoff, Eric Joss, Stuart Camber, Selma Cohn, Ida Laberwitz, Norman Landsman, George Lerner, Robert Lutweiler, Betty Levin, Estelle A. Marks, Herman Moore, Joellen Moltak, Jeremy Isaiah Narenberg, Gertrude Palico, Harry Pass, Ruth Plotnick, Pedro Prince, Edna Corton, Max Rappaport, Regina Resnick, Regina Scherf, Stephen Bruce Schneider, Chaja Hotline Schimmel, Neil Schur, Myrna Sigmund, Ellen Roden Solomon, Jay Sosland, Betty Spitzmiller, Jacqueline Steinberg, Walter Wolf, Jody Rubel, Jürgen Yashik, and Joel Zeslowski. If there's anyone else who's observing yahrzeit this month. Thank you. The Mourner's Kaddish can be found in our prayer books on page 64, and those who wish may join with me as we say, Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'yalmad ivrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chal Beit Yisrael, v'agalav izman kariv imramein. Yehesh me rabba mevarach le'olam omeomaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudesha brechu. Le'olam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran v'yalma v'imramein. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imramein. Oseh shalom v'imromav, uyaseh shalom. Aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imramein. You may be seated. Well, at this point, I would usually turn to Michelle and say, well, what patriotic song do you want to sing tonight? So I asked her at service, she said, oh, you should just do it to Yankee Doodle Dandy. And I thought, no, that's when we need her to be here. So for those 24 years that I was either at sea or in the desert or whatever we were doing, it was always there was a little time with the Army, very little with the Air Force, though I enjoyed their base because it was so civilized, but it was usually with Navy and Marines. So we always sang this, and it was funny because we went to a normal service with our daughter, and she said, they're singing the wrong song for Adon Olam. So if you'll join with me, page 66, it's easy to catch on. Adon Olam asher malach v'terem kol yitzir nivra le'et nasa b'chesakol azay melech shemo nikra v'acharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora vehu haya vehu hove vehu yebeti vara Vehu echad v'yein sheni le'am shilo li'achbira v'li reshit v'li tachlit v'lo ha'os v'ha'misra vehu eli v'chai go'ali v'tzur chavli b'et sara vehu nisi umanosli Minat kosi beyom mekra biyado avki ruchi v'etishan v'ya'ira v'im ruchi gaviyati Adonai liva lo ira. Then we'd always say beat army. But let's rise for a closing blessing. Adonai ozli amo yutein, Adonai v'rechet amo v'shalom. The Lord bless his people, indeed all peoples, with peace. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon. Shabbat shalom, and see you on the mountain tomorrow.
Bring your passes. Bring your pass.
Thank you.
It was great.
Yes, we haven't done that in a while. Oh, shut this on.